Hey folks, Ben here, and this is something a little bit different from me. I'm playing Field of Glory 2, and I'm not just playing Field of Glory 2, I'm actually playing in a tournament, and this is the opening match of the tournament. This is something that Slitherine do every year, I think, and I thought I'd join in. Now, I'm not the best Field of Glory 2 player, I've got to be honest. I do really like the game though, and when I say I really like the game, I mean I really like it. I don't play it as much as it deserves. However, it's one of those games that I just come back to like fairly regularly. Yeah, it's a regular fixture in my playlist, so to speak. Why? Well, the reason being, I think, is because it's just such a good game. For what looks just like two armies lining up against one another on a battlefield. It's actually really complex. The rule set that it uses to determine the combat resolution and the different unit types against one another are actually quite complex. And well, people will probably realise I like complex games, right? And this is one of those rare games that is exciting right from the start, right until the end. It's quite hard in Field of Glory 2 to tell when you've won, because right, you could be really stomping your opponent, but with the way that the game resolves the combats, and that there's a heavy random element in there, the game can turn on a dime. So I haven't played much multiplayer Field of Glory 2 yet. Actually, I have played it multiplayer with some guys that I know, but I've mostly played against the AI, so I'm not the best player. But generally speaking, the way that the battles will work out, well, whether it's in multiplayer or against the AI, is that I think that I'm doing really well, and then something will happen to turn the tide of the game, and that can happen even in the last few turns. And for me, at least, it's been quite rare for me to know that I've won the game more than a few turns before it actually finishes. It's always that close and that tight. So I really like Field of Glory 2. It's always dead exciting. So this tournament, I've been placed against an opponent whose name I've forgotten, and it doesn't really matter. The reason why I didn't go through all the setup stuff with this is because I'm not really that bothered about getting all that detail in there. I just thought I've mostly randomly picked some. I used the autofill, which basically gets the computer to determine what your force balance is going to be, and then I kind of tweaked it to sort of fit what I thought might be useful. Now, let's just have a look at the briefing. So we are Lydian, 550 to 456 BC. This is our force that we're using, and we're fighting against the Achaemenids, Persians. So this is 547 BC. Thymbre. Okay, these come from DLC that I don't have. So, but the tournament allows us to play them anyway. So I'm not familiar with this particular faction, to be honest. So it doesn't really matter. The game is. There's a lot of nuance in the game, and if you're someone who really wants to get into all the different factions and all the unit types, there's they're really interesting, and they all work kind of differently, but they all work similarly enough that you can kind of pick it up. You don't have to learn each faction. It's not like it doesn't have massively asymmetric factions. I mean, it kind of does with the force composition, but most of them have some form of infantry. Most of them have some form of cavalry, and they have archers and skirmishers such as archers, slingers, that kind of thing, javelin men. So I'll just quickly go over what we've got in this army. We've got some Lydian cavalry, which are heavy cavalry basically. So these are good at charging into medium infantry, heavy infantry, providing they've not got spears, that kind of thing. We've got Lydian light chariots. Chariots seem to last a little bit longer in melee. You can charge them. They do a lot of damage when you charge them into combat, and they seem to last quite a long time too. Nomad light horse archers and these light javelin horses basically are skirmisher cavalry that I've got. So let's just have a look where we are. I think I've put them on the other side. That's right. So I've got these on my right flank, and these are harassing units. Now the Nomad light horse archers also can be used. They are swordsmen too, so they can be used more offensively in melee. Then we've got Lydian hoplites. So these are the kind of these are your standard sort of ancient Greek era hoplite unit. They're heavy foot. They're not very maneuverable. They're extremely strong in melee, providing that you keep them in open ground. If they go into rough ground, they suck. they get beaten really easily because they can't hold their formation. So the trick with hoplites is to keep them in the open and to support them on their flanks, because if they get flanked, they can struggle. They can usually form a square, but you don't want to have to do that really. So they do need support. Okay, we've got some irregular foot. And irregular foot are they're medium infantry, which means that they can fight in rough ground without a penalty. So these guys they're essential. You can't really go without them, especially on maps where there is rough terrain. This map does have some rough terrain, but not a huge amount. Yeah, we need some. So we need some of these irregulars. They're good enough. They do have spears, so they are sort of effective against. They can countercharge, and they are effective against horsemen too, but not that effective. Heavy cavalry will destroy these guys pretty quick. We've got some raw hoplites. So these are hoplites that haven't been trained. Basically, their troop quality is raw. So troop quality is a big thing in this game. And our Lydian hoplites are just average, so they're not the best. They're not the best infantry, but the raw hoplites are really not that great. So I haven't taken any of those. They are a lot cheaper, and they can be used in a similar capacity, but they just don't hold up in battle. And actually, I thought I'd take some more cavalry. Now, the reason being is because the force that we're fighting against have a lot of archers and lots of horse archers. So they're an Iranian unit. So we've got armored cavalry. They've got camels which can scare horses. They disorder your horses if they're close. They've got light horse archers, more light horse archers, nomads and normal light horse archers. They've got these Persian immortals which are bowmen and decent swordsmen too. Then they've got big shields. Irregular foot like mine. They've got Sparabara foot, which are similar to the immortals but just not as good. See, these guys have got superior troop quality, and these guys are just average. Massed Eastern archers are just archers. There's just a lot of them. They're in a unit of they're twice the size of a normal unit. They're only average, but they cost they don't cost quite as much as the standard Eastern archers. And then we've got Eastern archers and light javelinmen. So the reason why I'm taking lots of cavalry is because I want to be able to dissuade him from using a lot of archers, because I think that he will probably pick archers, considering that they formed a large part of the Iranians' unit list. So also we've got some skirmisher units, and I've got 7 units of light javelinmen. I've got 1 unit of slingers and 1 unit of archers. I can't hope to outrange this guy with what we've got, but it's important to have some light units. Now the computer has put them over the side. I don't want them I want them a little bit closer to the front. They don't necessarily all have to go together either, although they do work well when you use them en masse. Okay, so now. The way that we've got this set up is we've got some forest here. Now this is our setup area, and this is the opponent's setup area. So they're going to set up somewhere in here, and it's hard to say, but they've got a hill here, and they've got some forest here. So fighting on hills gives you a tremendous advantage. It's just really, really effective in this game. It's one of the main tactics that you'll use is to take high ground. He will probably want to bring me to him because he's got all these archers, right? So he can afford to try to lead me in. He doesn't have any artillery, but he has plenty of these archer type units. So we're going to have to close the gap with him fairly quickly. Now the skirmishers aren't that powerful. It's not like Total War or something where you can you can absolutely devastate people with your archers from long range if they don't immediately move in. You know, they will do damage to you, and it can be significant, but they're really for sort of softening up, you know, tough units. So they'll be trying to take out our hoplites, even though the hoplites are armored. But they make good targets, because these guys are hard to defeat in combat unless you can get them onto rough ground, or you can flank them while they're in combat. Okay, we've got some chariots too, and I've put the chariots on this side, and the reason being is because I want some kind of mounted units on this side, something quick. But I've put most of my my cavalry onto this side. Now the reason being is because I want to flank him on the right, and I'm gambling now on the right, on my right flank. I'm hoping that he's not going to try and turtle up on this hill, which is possible he might want to do. If that is the case, we're just going to move in and just try to surround him. But I expect he'll probably form a line, like I am. Now we do have to keep away from this rough ground with our hoplites. So I've broken my hoplites into two groups of 3 units each, and we've got some irregular foot in the middle to fight around in case they do come to us, and it does look like I'll need to hold back. Now we have got some hills here, but I don't intend to hold this hill. I think that we need to get to them, and this is going to be a battle of maneuver, because there's not a lot of, you know, there is this small hill here and this small hill here, and we do have some woods, but it's not a huge amount, and there isn't a huge amount of open ground in his terrain either. So I'm thinking that unless he's forcing me to come to him, we're probably going to be fighting around this kind of area here. Okay, I'm not going to think about this too hard. Like I say, I'm not the best Field of Glory 2 player, so anybody who's watching this hoping that they're going to pick up some pro tips, you're probably in the wrong place. But I just thought it might be interesting to record the tournament, you know, and just see how it goes, and hopefully I'll learn something along the way. And maybe if anybody who does decide to watch, you know, you can give me some hints and tips as I go. It's been a while since I even read the manual, and I have read the manual through. There's quite a lot in there, particularly to do with the way that the points of advantage are worked out. The POA is basically how the different units react to one another in combat. So it's just a neat way for the game to summarize which unit has the advantage over the other, depending on the circumstances, on the unit type, depending on the terrain, on their morale, their quality, their armor, all the different abilities that each of the units have, all that kind of stuff. It's just a neat way of kind of summarizing it in an easy way. Okay, so I've got my main battle line here, and I've got a strong cavalry force on this side. I think what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to move a couple of these cavalrymen over to, I'm going to move them over to this side. I don't want my entire cavalry on one flank. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I might put 3 on this side and 3 on this side. That should be enough to dissuade any archer units, but they are going to have a lot of horse archers, and horse archers pretty nasty against cavalry if I remember right. So we do have to be a little bit careful to screen our cavalry with our heavy cavalry with our own cavalry, because we don't want to be chasing down horse archers with our cavalry. For a start, I don't think they're as quick. They don't have as many action points, so you know, we need to be a little bit careful. So I'm going into this one a little bit blind, so let's just go to accept and start the battle. So now we're in deployment mode. I've actually deployed the army pretty much as it is, but now's a good chance to start kind of changing things around. So we've got we do have a general, and this is our commander-in-chief, Maita, son of Belus, and we've got another general here in these hoplites, and then finally we've got another sub-general over with these cavalry. Now, and there's a fourth one over here on this flank. Now, you don't want you need your generals. You need another general in and amongst your main troops, right? So I'm actually going to move this general, the commander-in-chief, so he's in range of as many units as we can. If we hit the 3 key, that tells you the command range. So all of these units will have the benefit of this guy's command, and you get extra movement points basically. You know, you get a free 45-degree move, which doesn't sound like a lot actually, but it's really important. Because maneuverability is everything in this game. So, and it's quite hard for your troops to move backwards. For example, they have to take a cohesion test if they do. So the early positioning in this game is everything. In fact, if you position your units badly at the start of the game, it can mean the end. It can mean defeat. So you do have to be really careful. And I've not been massively careful here, I've got to be honest. But I'm just playing for fun, really. So. I'm kind of happy with this line. We do need to make sure that we've got plenty of these units supporting our hoplites. They won't be able to see us in these woods, although yet my opponent will know that there's something in here, no doubt. What I'm going to do is once we're all deployed, we probably won't get to see this yet because I'm not sure if if the player's taken his turn yet or not, because the tournament literally started today. So it started at 10 a.m. today, and it's not long after that now. So we probably won't get to see where he is yet, but yeah, I'm gonna just make sure that I've got plenty of units that are kept back. I'm gonna space these guys out a little bit because I really will need to ensure I've got some reserve forces essentially. I'm going to be a little bit boring with the way I do this one. Now I think the way this tournament works is we're going to play this map twice, and we'll take it in turns with each faction. So I will be able to, if I lose, I will be able to learn from my mistakes and carry on. Right, I think I'm going to keep this sub general back. I don't want to throw my generals into battle really, but it is important to keep a general with each kind of flank. So this is our main general. I might move him just a bit more towards the center. He's covering most of this. This general is probably going to keep with these horses as they go forwards, and yeah, I mean that's about it. I think we're pretty good to go. Yeah, so let's just click on end turn and confirm, and then we load it to the server. Good luck, have fun. Okay guys, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you when we start the game. Take care.